Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us up until this far. Like I teased you earlier, I have Kelvin and Cinamon from the organization that goes by the name Respect. They're here to share with us their journey on how they're trying to change lives of teenagers. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. You're looking amazing.
Thank you. We are happy to be here. The studio is very warm. Pale nje kuna baridi. It is very warm, yeah.
Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I'd like you to introduce yourselves. Ladies first.
Sure.
Cinamon.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Cinamon Bitutu Nyagaka. I'm a fifth-year medical student here at Kenyatta University. And aside from being a student, for the purpose of our conversation today, I am also a sister and a daughter. And yes,
A sister is a sister or a sister in a church.
Not
I have a
online.
sister, like familiar relations.
Oh,
I have a sister and I have a brother too. Yes, and yes, I'm a volunteer at Respect. And I think we'll be discussing more about the organization as the conversation progresses. Yes.
Interesting. The gentleman, the most blessed man amongst women.
Amen to that. Hello everyone. My name is Kelvin Thiga. I'm a sexual health and reproductive rights advocate, working under Respect or volunteering under Respect. And I will say WCW, another one for the ladies. So I know most men out there are wondering what's my place here when you're talking about Srhr, and that is what we are going to expound more and shed light on the same. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Cinamon,
Yes.
help us understand who is Respect and what exactly does Respect do?
Thank you for that. So we'll just start with the Respect. That is Respect with a K.
Yes.
That is Respect stands for Reproductive and Sexual Health Program for Kenyan teenagers. Sorry. So basically, we are targeting the Kenyan adolescents and Kenyan teenagers as our target population. We're not talking about sexual and reproductive health and rights. There are people we go to talk about sexual and reproductive health, and we always say respect the mission. And our mission is taking this information and, debunking the myths around sexual and reproductive health to our Kenyan teenagers and availing this information to them and reaching out to them. And that is what we are all about, reaching out and giving the right information and education about Srhr.
Nice.
Yes.
Mr. Kelvin, why is this important to you as an individual, especially as a man? It's a very sensitive place to be.
Exactly.
How are you able to handle everything? Why is it important to you?
Why this is important to me, the issue about sexual and reproductive health, it has so many things around it. Talk of gender-based violence, menstrual hygiene management, teenage pregnancies, it has a lot. And why this is close to me, it's because of that particular element, which is teenage pregnancies. I've been brought up in a community, and the school that I went to, my primary school, right before I finished, then we already had girls who were expectant. When I went into high school, some could not continue with the same high school, which is basic education. Some could not continue with the same basic education because they had dropped out because they were expectant. When I finished high school, most of my classmates or some of my classmates who are ladies, they were either in their second bonds or third bonds. So you can see like 10, 15 years down the line, when I'm at this particular level, my friends have not been able to catch up with me because they had certain hurdles in their life and
responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. So it's close to my heart because I would want these same ladies that we were in class to be in the same spaces that I am in. So that is why I'm out here advocating and spreading information about teenage pregnancies. That is why it's close to my heart. And it goes on even to the other elements on MHM and gender-based violence. Yes.
Cinamon.
Yes.
When you're trying to spread this kind of information to the boy child, because I'm sure you've interacted with the boy child, how well is it received considering you're a woman? He's given us his perspective as a man, but as a woman towards the teenage boy, how is it for you?
First of all, I think I can start with when we are going to these school visits and we are approaching, and I think as the chapter of here, we recently went to our school attached as a mixed school. So first of all, when we are having this conversation about sexual and reproductive health, we are not mostly targeting the ladies. We also have the boys sitting there with the ladies, and we are telling them all about sex ed and telling them all about contraception and everything else, and we get to hear from their side of view and also what they think about it. So basically we are incorporating men's ideas to the it, because we also want to consider the men and boys as potential allies in furthering our mission and taking the message out there. And I think when we really talk about sexual and reproductive health, the focus is, yes, on girls and women. And before we say, we normally say that when we put them together in like a bow, we are hiding the main idea, which is teenage pregnancies, as you said, gender-based violence, which mostly women are the main victims. But also when we're talking about STIs and HIV and contraception, everyone is involved. Yes, and we're talking about gender, there's the male and the female. So we really can't hide the fact that male also have issues when it comes to SRHR, and they should be considered as potential allies and potential supporters in advocating for SRHR.
Interesting. Kelvin, you've said something in regards to how teenage pregnancies is a little bit so close to your heart. How is the state of teenage pregnancy in the country right now, based on the things you've experienced and the things you've seen?
Okay, so when you want to talk impact, it's easier talking numbers. So let me start with numbers. As of now, the Ministry of Health the other day said that Kenya, the teenage pregnancies and motherhood stands at 18%. When
18% is a big
18% is a big number. Let me bring it home or closer. Out of every 5 girls you meet, one of them is expectant and is a teenager between the ages of 10 to 19 years.
5 girls?
Out of 5 girls, one is expectant, 10 to 19 years. That is only 18% means. We cannot say we are badly off or better off as a country if we don't relate, if we don't compare ourselves with the rest. Out of the 193 countries in the whole world, Kenya ranks number 3. Globally. I cannot. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk numbers.
I am genuinely shocked. I am honestly shocked.
Out of all the teenage pregnancies in Kenya, we are talk of 47 counties. Half of the number is contributed by 9 counties.
9 counties?
9 counties. So when I'm talking about how bad is teenage pregnancies in Kenya, we are at a bad place as a country.
It is
really bad and wanting. Yes.
Wow. Cinamon, what do you think can be done?
I think he has given us the statistics and the numbers, and I could not have put it any better. And when I really just want to add on what he has said, and also want to bring it like closer. When we are looking at these girls, you can say like 1 out of 3 girls visit antenatal clinics. This is where they get their reproductive.
1 out of the 3 pregnant girls.
Yeah, people go visit antenatal clinics. And teenage pregnancies is something really crucial. And Vile amesema, we're talking about, this was news, this was really a big...
It's like a pandemic.
It's like a pandemic, yeah. And you're talking about being ranked 3rd highest globally.
In the world, yeah.
In the world, that means there's something that we are not doing right. We're not something doing right. And when we're looking at it, if we're looking at the causes of teenage pregnancies, we dialed down who is getting these teenagers pregnant. Yeah, it's either within their circle, within their circle of age groups, or someone older. So what are the perpetrators of when it comes to teenage pregnancies? You can find maybe there's poverty, the low socioeconomic status of people.
There's a name I'm trying to remember, where you give off your body for you to get pads. I'm not remembering.
Transactional
sex.
For menstrual products.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we can find but girls are combated with the idea they can't afford to have their own menstrual hygiene, menstrual products. They have to resort into exchanging what they have, and that is their bodies,
to get what
they need. And as a country, we still have a lot of work to do in matters like combating teenage pregnancies, and there's work to be done.
Kelvin, do you think that introduction of all these methods to prevent STIs, STDs, and teenage pregnancies, do you think introduction of contraception and the condoms and all these pills and the likes. Do you think it is necessary to do it to teenagers?
Interesting. So just to allude to what Cinamon was saying, there's poverty out there, poverty in terms of money, poverty in terms of education, in terms of information. And this poverty in terms of information, we still have a lot of things going around, myths and misconceptions. Go to our secondary schools, ask them, what do you know about sex?
What are some of the myths you've had? Speaking of myths, share with us some. And Cinamon will also give us a few as well. What are some of the myths and misconceptions you've had from these children?
Exactly. So you will hear a boy or a girl confidently tell you that if you have a sexual encounter with a boy when standing,
yeah, I've had that as well.
You
will not get pregnant because of gravity.
Pregnant. Exactly.
Yes.
But they will, they will fall back.
Yeah, yes, I've had that as well.
That is one. Another one is, okay, we are told of safe days in a menstrual cycle.
Yes.
But really, are they really safe days?
No. I would say no.
No. So that is yet another one.
It's yes and no. Yes, if you are taught by the right practitioner how to go about it, and no, if you do it by yourself via you googled about it.
Exactly.
So no, yes and no. I would say yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
But you know something. Okay, it's too much biology, but it's a 50-50. It's a give or take.
True.
So the same. So even when these myths and misconceptions are being perpetuated by these young people, you'll find that all the men who are coming for this transactional sex, they will now come with the same myths and say, me, I'm safe. Like I'm in my safe days. Like a man, what is that?
And these young people will believe them because definitely he's an older person.
He's an older person. He knows more than me. And then there's now let me go to the question that you had asked. Is it right to introduce these methods of contraception to young people?
Yes.
If we keep on shying from these conversations, if I'm talking about 18% of the teenage pregnancies, it means that they already know what can be done. They already know they already know what is sex.
Yes.
They already know how it's done. They have this information at the click of the button.
Yeah.
They already know all the dynamics around it. But if we shy off from starting these conversations, that it's a high time, okay, we have been preaching abstinence for a very long time, but now we need to introduce be safe. Our parents, our mothers, our fathers out there, it's your role to have this
accept that they are already going to do it.
Exactly.
They're already doing
exactly.
it.
So your main thing will be my daughter or my son. There are ways you can be safe, and these are the different methods. These are the different methods of contraception. If you find it so hard for you, there are so many youth-friendly centers out here. We partner with one in Egerton called Rafiki Youth Center. They will offer this information openly and freely because it's a youth-friendly center. So I believe that there is a place we should be having these conversations with the children, and even, the quality check for what should be fed into children is
There's one we used to learn. I was lucky enough to go to a school where they were open enough to teach us, and it was called ABC. I can't remember clearly. It was abstinence, be something, and then C was contraception. Be faithful, and then contraception.
Yes. So actually it was, if for example you've never had a sexual partner before, you're just advised, you just abstain. If you are in any form of relationship,
be faithful.
Be faithful to your partner, because that is the only way you can't get it. If a disease is not between, if you don't have it and your partner doesn't have it, only if you're not faithful, that's how you'll get it inside you. And if you can't do A and B, just use
contraception
or contraceptives. Yes.
I like what he's saying about contraceptives and why we should avail this
conversation.
Yeah, we should avail these contraceptives to introduce to teenagers. There's always an issue which comes about, social conservatives always bring up the agenda that if we introduce contraception to young people,
you'll encourage them
to practice sexual behavior. But statistics and research have shown that this is not the case. You'd imagine that if we are giving contraceptions, we'd have higher sex rates, higher abortions, higher teenage pregnancies. But if we really look at the core of the problem as to why we're having teenage pregnancies and abortions at a high, is because there's that education bit that people are not really sensitized and are not having the right information at their fingertips.
Yeah.
That's why we are having the rise in this, we call it the triple threat. That is HIV infections, adolescent pregnancies, and something I'm missing. Oh, the risk of sexual and gender violence. So that is rise of HIV infections, adolescent pregnancies, and sexual and gender violence. So really, when we, as I think some of the things we encounter when we are going out there and going to the school visits and advocating for Srhr is that you are promoting sex by, talking
Teaching
to
them
kids
about
our
it.
sex ed, and that is really not the case. We're just wanting to equip the young people with the right information, the right
So that
tools,
you're able to make
the right
sane
decision,
decisions.
exactly, informed
Yes.
decisions about it.
Kelvin, do you think the society is ready for this conversation? Is it ready to have these conversations as raw as they sound?
So the readiness of the community, let's judge it based on what we are seeing on the ground. If you're going to schools and a principal can allow us to launch a club that will be talking about sexual and reproductive health within their school, and it's not just one school. We are launching clubs in high schools where we have almost 7 now. That is one. In the near future, you're going to have workshops, town halls. You're going to have university town halls. You're going to have community town halls. We are double sure that people will turn up for these conversations. If you are going to gauge the readiness of the community to receive this information, the community is gradually adjusting.
Yeah.
Because these conversations that we are starting here, we don't know who is watching there at home. Yes, maybe a father, maybe a mother, maybe a brother or a sister.
Sure.
If they get to hear this and we start this conversation, we start normalizing it. The same way, for example, let me allude to politics because that is what is happening right now. If I come up with a particular political narrative right now, it may sound so absurd and so new, and it has never been heard before. But if everybody gets to speak about it, it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
So that is the same way. These conversations that we are having here, somebody there at home gets to hear of them, and then they start the conversations around them. Although we may say that they are not ready, but kwa ground vitu ni different. They are having these conversations. The community is ready.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect time, the age of information, where you can easily access information.
True.
Because when I talk about transactional sex, somebody out there goes and starts looking for what is transactional sex.
Yes.
We are igniting conversations there at home. So the community is ready.
Cinamon, Kelvin said something to do with, right now during the campaign period is a very good time for these people to propagate such conversations. Do you think is there any government intervention in regards to resolving this, let's call it a pandemic, pandemic?
I love that question. In matters prioritization, we were just looking at the debate between the deputy president, and we are looking forward to the presidential debate. When we're talking about political prioritization when it comes to adolescent sexual and reproductive health, I look at 3 factors. We have just mentioned the statistics you've given us, and that is teenage pregnancies being on the high. But you'd expect maybe our preferable candidate talking about these things when it comes to, is the government openly expressing their concern about it? And it's not a matter of just concern, but is it continued concern about the rise in teenage pregnancies? So first, are we having our political leaders talking about it, both privately and publicly expressing their concern about it? When we're looking at policies, recently the reproductive health policy was launched. The government is supposed to legislate policies that are suitable to the specific needs of the adolescent at that particular age. But when we're talking about, there are some things when the youth are not actively being involved in the policy making process, we might tend to overlook some things which are really important to them, like when it comes to menstrual hygiene, abortion rights, all those things. And also when we're talking about the government in terms of budgeting and releasing budgets appropriate for that problem. So is the government doing what it's supposed to do, releasing funds for that particular moment? So the government, yes, is doing something, but it's really not enough, and
yes
it's
and
not.
No.
Sorry?
Is yes and no, or yes and maybe?
Yes, but also
they can do better.
They can definitely do better. Yeah.
Kelvin, most of these teenagers may not be in a position or comfortable to keep their babies once they find out they've conceived. How is the situation in regards to abortion, if you've had any?
Okay. So first things first, when you come to talk about abortion, it's a very sensitive topic. You will see many people wiggling in their seats, like I'm doing right now. So what informs the abortion? What informs everything? The practice of abortion. Who can receive? Who can do an abortion in Kenya? Who can offer such a service? Which facility can offer such a service? There's a lot of fights, call it fights, between the pro-life and the pro-choice.
Yes.
So pro-life are saying that God, the giver of life, should be the taker of life. God gave you life and is the only one to take this life. So you as a lady, you have no choice in
what to do with your body.
Exactly. And then you go to the pro-choice people. The pro-choice they are now the liberal people. They'll be like, you know what? The human body, the woman, it's my body, my choice.
Yes.
I should do whatever I want with it. Those are the approaches. And you have so many. Now, on either sides, you have big financiers, big donors. We have the government on one side pushing for this. You have the church pushing for this. You have private individuals and NGOs and all that pushing for this. So it's a big fight.
Yeah.
But now, the final decision is informed by the government. The government says that the government is clearly, or the constitution clearly highlights that abortion is a crime, and should not only unless this pregnancy puts the mother at risk. So you see, now let me give you a series of scenarios. What if, for example, I am a girl and I was raped?
Yes.
What if I am a girl and I am below the age of 18 and I'm still in school? What will I do? What if I am a wife? I'm in a relationship with my husband. I have the firstborn, secondborn. I don't want a thirdborn. What will I do? So you see, there's
a bunch of circumstances.
Exactly. And now when you have the government saying that this is illegal, people are now opting to go backdoor.
The unhealthy way.
I've heard of stories whereby so you go to a community. These people, they have been born there, they've been brought up there, so their circle has always been within this community. So they don't even have information, and these people, they believe that if you want to abort, for example, you take sugar, you take tea leaves, prepare a highly concentrated turungi, just to say turungi, and take it. You take pumpkin seeds and crush them, and
I've also heard of boiling Coca-Cola.
So you see, people are now turning back to ways that, and I can tell you for sure, abortion is happening. Just a few weeks ago, in my life, I've never really met somebody who has done it. You've not met
someone who opens up and tells you that I've actually conducted an abortion.
So we are in the clinic, and it's the radiographer's clinic. So ultrasound, where the ultrasounds are taken. And then a girl walks in with her mother. She's in school uniform, and then she comes in. Just like the norm, you lie on the bench, and then the doctor will have a conversation with you and take the probe and start looking at your stomach. So this girl, the doctor, what he's seeing some remains of some fetus. There is evidence of life here. This life is not living, and there's some evidence of life here. Then he's like, hey mama, ebu tafadhali acha niongee na mtoto wako kidogo.
Private conversation.
Exactly, it should be a private con. Then the mother, the first thing is she's shocked.
Pregnant. Is my daughter pregnant?
Like, I've never brought you to the hospital, and I had to be told that I walk away. Like me, I bring you because of other issues. I bring you because of coughs, and I've always been there. But why is this particular one I'm being told to walk out? So the mother, those skeptic, you can see that she has put on a different face altogether. Yeah. And you start having a conversation with this child. Hey, are you sexually active?
Yes.
Have you engaged in any abortion? Have you done this? Have you done this? And the child will come out right and say, no, I've not done
Even
this.
With evidence.
Even with evidence. And you're like, you know what? like whatever I'm saying does not relate with whatever you're saying.
Yeah, it does not match. Yes.
Exactly. So abortion is there, people are doing it, and we have institutions that are offering safer abortions to say, and yeah.
Wow, it's interesting. As we wind up, are there other things you do in line with respect other than just teenage pregnancies?
Yes, of course, we do. In terms of, aside from teenage pregnancies, we are an organization that advocates for Srhr. And when you look at Srhr, there are so many entities under it. There's the bit for sexual, just go into sexual reproductive services. So we have the teenage pregnancies, we have the HIV infections, we also dealing with matters when it comes to contraception services, and also aside from the education that we give to the Kenyan teenagers, we also have services that we refer to them through our linkages, organizations we partner with. He given an example with the Rafiki Youth Center. We also have partnered with, in terms of marriage stops, in giving contraceptive services to people, young people. We also have GVRC, where we have we are dealing.
What is GVRC?
Oh, it's Gender Violence Recovery Center.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is dealing with victims who are victims of
gender violence.
So yes, we do have, aside from what we preach to or we teach the students in high schools, we do also have our linkages that
services that deal with everyone else.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Kelvin, where can if I'm a teacher out there, or I'm a head teacher or a principal, how can I reach out to you? Or it is you as the organization that reach out to the school? How does it work?
So these are an age of information, and everybody's on social media.
Yes.
So that is the first place that you will find us. You can get us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Respect KD. Respect, we said respect with a K.
With a K.
Respect with a K, which is an acronym. KD for Kenya, K is for Kenya, and D is for Denmark. Because
Respect is an acronym.
Respect is an acronym for Reproductive and Sexual Health Program for Kenyan Teenagers. Okay.
Oh wow.
RESPEK. So Respect is an acronym by itself, but it explains itself. So you'll find us on our social media platforms, and our contact will give.
You can give out the contact. Feel free.
Yeah, I think it's easier we give. We'll just tell you. Yeah, as you go.
Interesting. So your personal social medias, if any teenager wants to reach out to you on a personal level.
My Facebook is Cinamon Nyagaka. For Twitter, it's C_B22, and Instagram is Cinamon Nyagaka as well.
Interesting. Kelvin?
Okay, so you'll find me on Instagram and on Facebook. I use my surname, so I use Kevo Morioki. I've never changed since since high school.
Got into social media.
So Kevo Morioki on Instagram and on Facebook, but on Twitter, I'm Morioki Thiga K.
Interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing with us your knowledge this very beautiful morning. As we wind up, I'd like to read some feedback. We have feedback from Respect KD, an important conversation. Thank you so much to whomever is doing your social media. Have Bidian Okoth rooting for you. Thank you so much for joining. Kipturu Japkeitani Tala, to combat the skyrocketing rates of teenage pregnancies, we need to educate our communities. Ignorance is one of the greatest reasons for the statistics. Exactly what Kelvin said earlier. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be coming back with the remaining half of the deputy presidential debate. Stay tuned. Also, keep sending your feedback at KUTV Kenya on Facebook, at KUTV_Kenya on Twitter, and at KUTV Kenya on Instagram. I will see you after this short break.